It's like it knows I only sort of clicked my mouse. So, how do you solve a problem like Maria? We wanted to get all the angles. There we go, okay. So, how'd you go about it? Alex, start me out. So what angles are we looking at? Are we looking at pink, green, or blue? That's right. So give me one. Let's start with one. Pick a color. Pink. Okay, so starting here, that's 50. And you're going to use vertical angle scissor theorem, right? Your words, not mine. What does that mean? What angle does that get us? So check it out. That must mean this is 50 by vertical angles theorem, right? So you get that for free. Remember scissor theorem, it says the opposite sides, opposite angles are going to be equal all the time. We have two lines intersecting. There they are. Cool. Give me another one.
The pink one. So where's now?
Pink?
The blue.
The blue one.
No. It's going to be pink.
The pink one.
I'm just saying go to the blue one.
Okay.
Down to the left.
That one has to be pink?
It's 50.
He thinks so. It looks like it should be. How do you know?
I'm linear. Or it's not the same way.
Yeah, so this angle and that angle will add up to 180, but we don't know what this one is yet, right? I know it's x plus 60, but I don't know what x is, so I don't know what the whole thing is. Now, Mr. Ease, you are on to something. Let me see if I have my cheater sheet. Okay, so check it out. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. So look at the pink ones and look at the blue one. Those are the pink ones. That was the blue one from before. Okay? Notice that the pink ones are going to be the same. They're blue in this one, right? They are going to be the same. How do we know 1 and 17 are the same? Corresponding angles. Do you see that? When I get rid of that extra line, it's easier to see. When it's here, it's hard to see that these are corresponding angles. But they are, because they're both bottom left, aren't they? Right? So corresponding angles are congruent. So we do get this for free. So for corresponding angles, that's 50. What else can we get with pink? Yep, we get this one for free, right? By what? Scissor theorem, which is vertical angles, right? So that's dope. Anything else we can get out of the pink before we go in and venture to the rest?
Take 50 plus 60.
Yeah, we can do that and figure out because it adds up to 180. But is there anything else we can do before involving any other angles? See any others?
70.
Something with 70?
No.
So over by the 70?
No, there's no more 50s.
No more 50s?
There's not X plus 60.
Try if you can. This middle line right here, erase it. Can you visualize it? We've got this line and this line that are parallel, and here's the transversal. Right? No? Okay, we'll get back to it. It's all right. I don't know what happened to that sheet. So, let's go on to next color. Do you want to do the green next or the blue next? You say blue? Okay. So, blue. We don't know what that is yet. Do we have a way of figuring out exactly what that totals to? Yeah, Corinne?
Well, the whole thing around would equal 360.
Ooh.
50 plus 50 is 100. So 360 minus 100 is 260. And then if you divide that by 2, you get
Yeah, she's absolutely right. She's on another level, guys. Okay, so check this out. There's an easier way of doing that, but like that was totally valid. And I'm going to show it to him because it's worth showing it. Well done. So check it out. The whole thing's going to be 360. See how that makes a circle, right? It rotates completely around. It's going to be 360. So what we have is 50 plus 50 plus x plus 60 plus x plus 60. Another way to write that, couldn't I just do 2 times x plus 60? Do that thing twice, right? The key is to remember to wrap it in parentheses. It's not just 2 times the x, right? It's 2 times everything here. Does that make sense? If I wrote it like this, Doc, do you see how that only does the x twice but doesn't do the 60 twice? Right? I could write it like this. That's fair, right? I did it both twice, but other ways to do that. We know that's going to go in here. That's all. That's all. Distributed property. That's 100. Hundo! And then Corinne's right. That's going to be a 2x plus 120. And remember, she's saying the whole thing has to add up to what? 360. No scope. Snoop Dogg. You remember the video, right? Changed your life. I think you were gone that day, Debbie. Yeah, you were. Yeah, it's a good one. You guys remember that? Yeah, it was good. Anybody watch the beginning? Yeah, don't do that. All right, so anyway, we're here now. And she's saying, look, that's 100 plus 120 is 220. I'm going to subtract that. So we get this, 2x equals 360 minus 220. That's 140. So all she did is subtract these two from that. Is that cool? Is that cool? You follow me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So now we're here, and then she said divide by 2, right? So we get x equals 70. Don't get excited. Just the first bell. So x is 70. So if x is 70, what does that tell us this whole thing is right here? Yep, so 70 plus 60 is hard to do in my head, but I can do 60 plus 60. That's 120. Add 10 more. 130. That means this is 130. Now we're cooking with fire. All right. See any other 130s?
Yeah.
Where? Tucker.
All the way to the left.
This guy's to be 130, right? I mean, come on, right? 50, 130. If you're clever, Corinne did it that way, algebraically. You could have been like, well, that's got to be 180, right? So that has to be 130. And notice, these guys are both corresponding, right? Top left, Again, erase this middle line. So they have to be the same. Saves you the algebra. Also, another way to do it, Corinne, instead of saying, hey, that has to add up all the 360, you could just said, that has to add up to 180. Would have saved you a little bit, but ain't no thing, right? Get you the same answer. I like multiple ways of doing it. So if that's 130, what else do we know?
Other side,
Yeah, other side, right? Because vertical angles, scissor theorem. See any other 130s or no? Green. Time's come, the walrus said. Talk of many greens. Where do you see him? Alex.
70 vertical.
Vertical angles here. That's 70. Yes, ma'am.
these two on the other x at the bottom,
On the other X at the bottom, these are both 70s. Now, how do you know that, Corinne?
because it's the two parallel lines.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to the other one, but erase the middle line. See how that guy's top right corner, that guy's top right corner? They're corresponding, aren't they? So we have corresponding angles here, corresponding angles there. Or you could say corresponding angles and then vertical for free. So those are both 70s. Any other greens? No, but now we need another color because we've got other angles to do, right? What color do you want to use?
Red.
Red, he said. All right, so what other angles? How can I figure out these guys? Corinne,
Add up the 70s and then subtract it from 360.
the Corinne method. So she noticed that the whole thing's 360, right? Which means we subtract both of the 70s. We get 220. And then we divide by 2, right? So we get 110. Now, Corinne, what do you notice about 110 and 70? These two numbers.
They both end in 0.
They what?
They're
They both end in 0? Yes, that's right, which means they're easy to add. What do they add up to? 11 and 7. What's 11 and 7 make? Doc, help her out. 11 and 7.
No, 70.
Try again. 11 plus 7. I'm bringing you back to earth.
Is it 18?
18, right? Add a 0 on the end. 180, right? So that's 180. Of course it is. Linear pair, right? They're going to be 180. So again, Corinne did they have to be 360, right? I would save some work and say, look, those have to add up to 180. They're on a line. So at 70, that must be 110, right? See any other 110s? Mm-hmm. Right? Because that has to be 180 between those two. So that's 110. Which means vertical angle says that's 110 as well. Now we do have some angles that we're missing still. I'm going to use a different color. Let's use, how about brown? Okay. What other angles are we missing? These guys. How can we figure them out? I gave you a hint the other day. It's at the top of the page. Yeah, so the internal angles, the inside angles of a triangle always add up to 180. That's convenient. So 50 and 70 makes 120. So how much is left over? 60, right? And we get both of them for free because of vertical angles, But if you check, look, we would have gotten 60 again, wouldn't we? Right? It all makes sense. If it doesn't make sense when you look at it in different ways, then you must have done goofed, right? That's that on that. How do you feel? It's a lot, but like, if you take it a step at a time, not too bad. Okay. I think the hard part here was the X, definitely. But if you're clever, you'll notice, look, I get 130 for free. That's going to be the same thing here, right? Yeah. What vertical angle are we missing?
560.
Here's 60. Do you guys see the angle we're missing? We need one more color. Choose purple. It's this angle right here. They're both the same by vertical angles, right? How can we figure them out? Well, Kryn would say they all add up to 360, right? Subtract the pieces, divide by 2. I would say, to save some work, what do we know about those two angles? They must add up to what? Not 120. These two right here. 180, right? So if that's 60, how much is left over? 120, yeah. He's answering the question before I asked it. Tucker's playing 40 chess here. Everybody else playing checkers. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Questions, comments, concerns other than from a mental well-being? No? Feel decent? No yawning in math class. It's exciting. No smiling either. It's just math. Relax. Now check it out. Does this match up with our diagram from before? Those guys are the same. Those guys are the same. Those guys are the same. Yeah. Different colors. But it made sense. We didn't break anything. All right, cool. What I want you to do now is get out that worksheet that I gave you, the one that looks like the more complicated one. So not this one, but the other one. This guy. Let's take gander. Oh, answer key. No, look, don't copy it down. Oh, no, the answers. You know everything's made up and the points don't matter, right? You figured that out by now for the homework? No, they haven't, but they'll figure it out someday. All right. It's just for your health. That instantaneous feedback, right? So here we are. Directions. Solve for the missing angles and record your answers at the bottom of the worksheet. Looks familiar, right? We got a bunch of lines all together. We got to figure out the angles. It's just what we did. Just in a worky-sheety format. Work together. I'm going to give you guys... Doc, what do you think?
20 minutes.
20 minutes? Well, class ends at, what?
20.
51? 20?
Let's go with 12:17.
I thought it ended at 51.
21.
I hate that chart. It's poorly written. 51, no, it can't be 51.
It's 21.
Yeah, it's 21, you're right. All right, so it's 21, we're sitting at 10. We don't have 20 minutes, right?
Let's go with 12:17.
It's gonna be about like 6 minutes.
Do you want to look at that?
No, I don't want to look at that. Work together. Show Doc.
Yeah, show me.
Okay? He'll tell you what is right.
Yeah, it's probably copy it down.
550, Zach?
Where?
Really?
Where do you see 550?
Right there, number 1.
That's 55 degrees. It's at 0.
Might want to fix your handwriting, Mr. Eads.
Okay.
He's gonna be grading it tomorrow. You think he's gonna be nice?
Does that look like 500?
If he can't read it, it's wrong.
I can read his paper.
teacher
And I
can't read it.
I can't read his handwriting.
What are you talking about? He's a doctor. He's got great handwriting.
Phenomenal handwriting. Let me see it. I'd be dead then if I was my doctor.
Yikes. I'd trust Doc with my life. With a name like that, you gotta trust him, right?
550.
Shut
Doing okay? Doing okay?
I don't want to take it back. You just getting copy down all my answers.
I'm not, I'm making sure yours are right.
Oh, okay. That
No.
works for me.
Yes. Oh, so yeah. I did not make this myself, and you can tell because it's not made with care. Notice that these lines are parallel, so mark them that way.
Can't see that, bro. Oh, we would have to.
I would. If they're not parallel, it doesn't work. The whole thing breaks apart, except for the vertical angles. Vertical angles are true no matter what, but the other stuff like corresponding and all that, alternate interior, those are all based on having parallel lines and a transversal. Now notice 5, 8, and 9 make a triangle, right? Triangle internal angles all add up to 180. Get it done. will.
Now make sure they're all right.
Hey, your thing's a little crinkled.
Yeah, cause someone,
What? You, Zach, 99% of the time, what you say does not make any sense.
100% and I just think it makes sense.
Yikes.
Wow.
That's the best you can come up with, right there.
I could have came up with better, but you're in the room.
Gotcha. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'll leave it for the part.
When I was a young boy, Mama just said to me, there's only one girl in the world for you, and she probably lives in Tahiti. Or maybe she's in the Bahamas, where the Caribbean Sea is blue. We've been away in the tropical night because nobody's told about you. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world to find out where they hide her. Why am I hanging around in the rain out here, trying to think of a girl? Why are my eyes filling up with these lonely tears when there's girls all over the world? Or is she lying on a tropical beach somewhere underneath the tropical sun? Hiding away in the heat wave there, hoping that I won't be long. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world to find out where they hide her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world to find out where they hide her. I go the whole wide world. 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 I go the whole wide world.
That doesn't make any sense.
Are they just the same?
no, not all.
So
Okay, I see what you're saying.
88 was the-
Alright, let's talk about it.
Three's not going to
All right. So they give you a couple. Hopefully you notice that. Angle 1, they gave you 55, 55. So I'm going to label that. That angle 1's 55. And they also give you that angle 7 is 115. So I'm going to do that in a different color. Thank you for telling me. Is that too small? It's too small, right? Okay, I'll keep you guys up here. 115 is angle 7, so that's this guy. All right, so Tucker had a good point. He said, shouldn't these be the same? They should be corresponding, right? We got top left, top left. But here's the deal. That line right there is cutting this guy up. This guy is 115. You see it now? So if you remove that line, then we've got one transversal. So that guy and that guy altogether would be 115, which does tell you something. If the whole thing's 115, and that's 55, can't we subtract 55 from it and get what's left over?
45.
So right here, angle 2 is going to be 45, right? 115, 55, sorry. Let me try that again. 60 is what that's going to be.
Well, no.
So 55 and 60 adds up to 115. 50 and 60 is 110, plus 5 is 115. So you gotta be careful with that one, Tucker. Looking for corresponding angles and stuff like that. If you have a line that cuts that in half or something, it's gonna make it misleading. All right, let's go back to red, 55. What other angles are gonna be 55? Alex? 4. Now, how do you know that 4 is gonna be 55? Vertical angles, right? Bam, right there. Across from each other. The scissor that cuts them is gonna be this guy and this guy, right? These two lines. This line doesn't matter. Just there's the scissor, okay? What else is gonna be 55? Any?
Actually, 9 and 14.
9 and 14? How do we know 9 and 14 are gonna both be 55? Corresponding. Again, erase this line right here in your mind. Top left, bottom right, bottom right. We cool with that?
It's 3 and 6 can be 55 too.
3 and 6 you say are gonna be 55. Why do you think they're 55?
Because
1 is, so 3 is because they look like they're similar, right? Nope, that's not good enough. That's not proof. Turns out they're not gonna be 55. What do we know about angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3? What do we know about those? They should happen 180, right? They're all sitting on a line, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 should be 180. Well, 1 is 55. 2 is 60. We know that adds up to 115, right? So that's 115. How much is left over to make 180? Well, 65, right? 65, 60, 70, yeah, 65.
So 11 and 8 would be 65 too.
Now check it out. We've got all these adding up to 180. Shouldn't 6, 5, and 4 also add up to 180? Do we know what angle 5 is? 60 vertical angles, right? There's the scissors. That means this must be 65. That's what's left over, right? Again, vertical angles works as well. Right. Back to purple. 115. See any other 115s? 12. Vertical angles, right? What about over here? 9 and 10. How can we figure out 10?
180 minus 55.
180 minus 55. What's that? It's going to be 125. Let's do that in orange. Which means angle 13 is also 125 by what? How do we know that that's 125 as well? A couple ways.
Scissor theory.
Yep, 360 minus, or you could say like, look, that's 180, right? It's got to be. It's going to be the same thing up here. Or vertical angles, scissor theorem, right? So now we're only missing 2 angles, 8 and 11. There's 2 ways to do it. One, well, there's 3 ways. You could do Corinne's method and say all 360, right? Subtract 115 twice, then divide by 2. Or you could say my method, that should be 180, right? Subtract 115, you get the answer. Other way is to say, look, this is a triangle. That should add up to 180, right? So if I do 180 minus this, I should get that. So let's fill that out. I'm going to use brown.
You didn't check if they were right.
115 plus something should be 180. 65. We know that from earlier, right? Because that's 115 and that's 65. So guess what? I can use the same color, green. Now check it out. Something you might have noticed. 115 and 65 makes 180, right? Don't these 3 guys also add up to 180? This triangle right here, let me highlight it for you. This triangle right here. Do you see it, Mr. Eads? I know we struggle with that shape. So did Alfredo. This guy will always add up to these 2 guys. Whenever we have a triangle, these 2 angles on the inside, the ones that are far away from this outside angle, always add up to this outside angle. So check it out. the other worksheets for your homework. Here's a triangle, right? And if I extend that bottom out like that, it creates an angle here. This angle will always be equal to this guy and this guy added up. This is an exterior angle because it's on the outside of the triangle, right? We call these remote interior. Remote meaning far away, like a remote island, right? Remote means far away. So the remote interior angles, interior means inside, remote means the ones far away from this guy, always add up to the exterior angle. Always. So this guy is just blue plus red, which we all know makes purple, right? Why is he so sad? Now what if I extended this guy out? We've got an angle here. Here's his remote interior angles, this one and this one. So what color combination is he going to be? Try again. Remote ones, the ones that are far away from him. Green and blue. He's so sad. What about this guy? What color combination is he going to have? Remote interior. So the inside ones, the ones that are furthest away, which ones? Red and blue's too close. Green. Thank you very much. Go away. See you, Alex.